In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He formed man and woman in His own likeness and created them to be in relationship with Him. They walked with God until they fell to temptation and sin entered the world. The world became rife with wickedness, and God's only option was to flood the earth and start over with Noah and his family. 400 years later, God calls Abraham and promises to make his descendants into a great nation. But after 7 generations, Abraham's descendants, the Israelites, find themselves as slaves in Egypt. However, God never forgets His promise and raises up a man, Moses, to set His people free from slavery. Moses' successor Joshua leads God's people into the promised land, and with God as their head, they conquer every enemy they face. After Joshua, God raises up judges like Deborah, Samson, and Gideon who protect and fight for God's people. But after every victory, the Israelites quickly forget what God has done for them. The people tire of this leadership and demand a king. God gives the Israelites King Saul, King David, and King Solomon. But things get worse. God's people rebel. The kingdom of Israel is divided, and everyone turns their back on God. Prophets like Elijah, Isaiah, Micah, and Jeremiah warn that if people don't turn from their sinful ways, there will be consequences. But the people ignore their warnings, and Israel is conquered by foreign nations. God's people fall under captivity in Babylon. Prophets foretold of one who would set God's people free. He shall be called Emmanuel, God with us. After 70 years in captivity, the Israelites return to their homes. They attempt to rebuild the wall and the temple, but God was not with them. There were no prophets, no miracles, no angel visitations. For 400 years, God was silent. Of nothing, God broke the silence. An angel appeared to a young woman, promising to her a child that would be the savior of her people. She and her husband traveled for over a week from Nazareth to Bethlehem. But upon arriving, there was no room for them anywhere. The only place available was a stable. Meanwhile, angels appeared to shepherds, proclaiming the arrival of a savior. Wise men from the east observed a star in the sky, and they journeyed to Bethlehem to search for the king. It was there that God's plan for redemption was born. There in a stable, Mary gave birth to her child. In the most humble of circumstances, the fulfillment of God's promise to His people from the very beginning was finally here. Shepherds arrived and praised God, and the wise men presented gifts to Him: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Everyone who saw Him bowed down and worshipped the newborn King.